Hello and welcome to Euphoria. Today I'm going to continue with my little project to try and convert the Honeydukes Sweet Shop into a half-modular building. Honeydukes is one of the two little buildings that are in the Hogsmeade Village Visit logo set number 76388. But as I explained in the previous videos in this series, these little buildings are doll's house style buildings, which mean that it's a nice looking facade with an open back and some of the interior, which is great for play value. But I decided that I wanted to convert this one into a full building meeting the modular building standards. Now actually it's going to be a half modular building and will sit on a 16 by 32 base plate, which is the equivalent of half a full modular building. So this is where I got to so far. I've made the ground floor of the building and set it on its base plate in the right position to leave a pavement or sidewalk at the front, and it still has the modular connection points at the sides. I've provided a back for the building, which includes some windows and a rear door, and I've also placed the staircase here at the back of the building, which will go up to the first floor of the building, which will sit on top. I've kept the main layout and feel of the front of the building as a traditional sweet shop with these nice bay windows and this green front door, and I've also used quite a lot of the interior from the original set, although that's still subject to completion really as I finalise the design for the structure of the building. So in the original set this building had a very steep roof and a very small attic in the roof and was just a single story, but I've decided that I'm going to add another story onto the building above this ground floor here, which is why I've added the staircase up to this level, and then on top of that will sit the roof. So in this video I'm going to concentrate on building the first floor. So I'm going to start this part by thinking about the floor plate that's going to sit on top of the ground floor here and form the basis for building the first floor. Now actually I really want the floor plate to be 16 by 16 studs, which is the size that I've built this ground floor at the moment. But I'm also thinking that to add a bit of character to the building, I thought I would build it with an overhang over the front using these arch pieces, and I want to build those into the front wall of the building, kind of here. But then the overhang here is another couple of studs, which would make the depth of the first floor 18 instead of 16. So what I think I might do is reduce the depth of the ground floor back to 14 studs, and then this overhang will make the first floor 16 studs. That would actually make the interior of the shop at the front of the building here slightly smaller, but I think there's room to do that without it looking too bad. So you'll see that in this build I'm free building, which isn't what I normally do. Normally I plan things out on the computer first, or at least work out what bricks I need, what the design is going to look like, and then build it. But here I'm just playing around with the Lego. And that's the great thing about Lego, of course, is that if you don't like something, you can break it up, change it around, see how it looks a different way. Whereas building like a model kit or even a Lego set, you can't really just change it around because then it won't work. So here I'm repositioning the building so that it's only 14 studs deep, and because these two modular connection points still need to be in the same place, I've had to move the front of the building back by one stud and the back of the building in by one stud, and the rest of the back and the stairs also have to move kind of in by one. I've also removed these panels that were just placeholders to start with. Just happened to have these ones in these colours, and I've replaced them by masonry profile bricks. I got a load of those in grey from the pick-a-brick wall, and here I've been making them in columns like that, but as you can see it's not very secure. So what I'm going to do is to change this so that they bind together and join across, which will make these walls much stronger. And also what I'm going to do is try and build these arches into the front part of the wall here, and they will support the overhang for the first floor, which is what I'm actually trying to achieve with this part of the build. So let's have a go at doing that and see what it looks like. At the front here I'm going to work out how to attach these arch pieces. They need to be the same height as the wall when it's finished, so they're going to have to go on here, which means I'm going to have to change this arrangement about how the front window is attached. So now I've embedded this half arch in the front wall, and I've done that 4 times so that the upper floor will be supported all the way across the front here. Obviously I've done the same at this side, and this wall I've interleaved as well, so that's much stronger. The section across the front here I've done in dark brown so that it looks like the start of the wooden framework for the upper story. That also happens to extend along the inside here. These plates, these tiles here also need to be dark brown. I just don't have the right colours at the moment. I've used a number of plates and tiles in dark brown across the front here, and those do bind these windows in really well. So altogether that's quite a strong construction across the front of the building. So now I'm back to needing a 16 by 16 floor plate for the upper floor, and the access to the upper floor is still via the staircase in the back corner here. So let's start on the floor plate for the upper level of the building. The way I normally make my floor plates is with a layer of 1 by something plates round the edge, supporting the floor itself, which is made up of a number of larger plates which are connected together with 2 by something plates underneath. To show you what I mean, here I'm laying a layer of 1 by something plates around the edge of the building. Although I won't actually make the floor plate this way, I'll obviously attach them to the larger floor plates which will sit on top here. Now in this case I've also got the overhang at the front to deal with, which is why these pieces stick out in this way. So now I need to work out what plates to use to cover this with, leaving a suitable gap in this corner for the staircase. Now at the moment I don't have any dark brown plates, so what I'm going to do is just use these dark tan ones until I've worked out which plates I need, and then I might get some in the dark brown colour or reddish brown colour that matches these plates here. So here's my first attempt at a floor plate for the next floor. It's 16 by 16 studs. It's made out of 5 larger plates and quite a lot of 1 by something plates, and of course underneath there are 2 by something plates which are connecting the other plates together. On the front here it's got this slightly unusual arrangement that I mentioned earlier, and when I fit that onto the ground floor it just clips on with the couple of studs that I've left on the tiling layer to provide me with a floor plate on which I can start to build the walls and a hole where the stairs come up. And I think it gives me the kind of effect I want at the front with an overhang, which doesn't feel like it cramps the ground floor too much. So I'll go with that for now, and then we'll work out how to build the upper story on this building with walls around the outside and windows at the front and back. I'm considering using these window frames 1 by 4 by 3 to go in the front of the building, because I want to use these windows with this lattice work which give a nice old-fashioned feel to the building. And I was hoping to find these in green to match the front of the shop, but they seem to be quite rare in green, and the ones that are available are very expensive. They were only available in one set in 2012, and they're not a current part available from Lego. So I have a choice between using these frames in a different colour, or maybe using 2 of these side by side, which are available in green, and they are actually a current part as well. I would have to put those in side by side like this. But unfortunately this nice lattice work window doesn't fit into these frames, so I just have to have plain glass or try and find more of these stickers that fit on this glass here. Another option would be to use these smaller 2x2 frames, which come in lots of colours and are available in green, although I don't have any at the moment. There is actually a lattice work window pane available for these smaller windows, but I'm not sure that I want windows that small in the front of the building, and if I start to double them up, then I think they become inappropriate to the style of the building. So for now I'm going to go with these frames in reddish brown. I like the way that they fit these window panes. The colour fits in with the framing of the building. I do have a couple to get me started, and they are a current part, which means that I can easily get some more to finish off the MOC. And I'll use the same approach at the back of the building, although here I need even more parts in the right colours. So, having decided on those frames, I thought that the front looked a bit flat and boring, so I decided to make a kind of bay window in the centre to add a bit of interest. These white window panes look a bit odd, but they're just temporary until I can get some more of these lattice ones in gold. I finished off the brown framing representing wood framing. Then I decided in the end that at the back I would try the smaller windows instead. So now there's just a few things left to finish off this level of the MOC. You may have noticed that I've included some arches in the reddish brown timber parts of the walls here towards the back. I've done that so that I can put a beam across the building here. I did consider using a long brick for this beam that would fit across the arches like this, but I felt that this was a bit thick and heavy, so I'm going to replace it with a thinner beam made up of a layer of plates and tiles like this. Just as in a real building, I'm going to support the beam in the middle with a post. The post will go in the middle here and transfers any weight down into the wall, which will be immediately below. So it's not just decorative, it's actually quite strong. The idea is that in a real building it would add strength to the wooden structure and help to support the beams that would be part of the next floor, or in this case support the roof trusses that are going to be part of the roof. It's not really necessary for the strength of this Lego build, but I feel it would add to the period feel of the building if I include this in the build. So now I can add the tiling layer on top of the walls, which will provide the separation between this level and the roof construction, which will go on top. On each side I've added one of those tiles with just 2 studs, which will help to locate and attach the roof structure. I'm just going to add a couple of these lattice fence type elements to the edge of the floor plate near the staircase to prevent minifigs falling into the stairwell. Now you may have noticed I started adding just a little detail to the corner here to show where there might have been some repairs to the front wall. But then I thought I could do a little better than that without making the whole front too fractured and irregular. So I've added a bit more detail into one of the panels here just to add a bit more interest to the front of the building. I may want to fix some of these colours, but I think the idea works okay. So that's this level of the building just about complete. There's still one or two things to fix, such as getting the right window panes for the front and back windows and the right colour plates for the floor. So now I can finish off this part of the build by adding the new upper storey to the ground floor that I made before. It fits neatly on top of the walls, provides the overhang at the front and gives a nice traditional feel to this little MOC. So the next thing to do will be to work out how to make the roof. As you might have seen from my previous videos, I'm not that impressed with the roof from the original set. For this MOC, it obviously needs extending back to the full depth of the building, and it will need to connect onto the connection points on the upper storey. And I may want to keep some features such as the dormer window. So I need to think a bit more about how I'm going to achieve all that, and so I'll look at that in the next video in this series. Please let me know what you think of progress so far in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see how I get on with this little building, my other MOCs and my Lego city.